Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala, Giridhara Sham Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala, Murali Manohar Nandalala.
Govinda Gopala, Murali Manohar Nandalala.
Govinda Gopala, Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala, Giridhara Sham Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala, Murali Manohar Nandalala.
Govinda Gopala, Murali Manohar Nandalala.
Govinda Gopala, Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala, Giridhara Sham Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala, Murali Manohar Nandalala.
Govinda Gopala, Murali Manohar Nandalala.
Govinda Gopala, Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala, Giridhara Sham Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala, Murali Manohar Nandalala.
Govinda Gopala, Murali Manohar Nandalala.
Govinda Gopala, Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala, Giridhara Sham Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
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 Govinda Gopala, Murali Manohar Nandalala.
Govinda Gopala, Murali
Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda, Gopala, Giridhara Sham, Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala, Murali Manohar Nanda Lala.
Govinda, Gopala, Murali Manohara Nanda Lala.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Govinda, Jaya Jaya Gopala, Jaya Jaya.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Govinda, Jaya Jaya Gopala, Jaya Jaya.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Govinda, Jaya Jaya Gopala, Jaya Jaya.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Govinda, Jaya Jaya Gopala, Jaya Jaya.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Govinda, Jaya Jaya Gopala, Jaya Jaya.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Govinda, Jaya Jaya Gopala, Jaya Jaya.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Govinda, Jaya Jaya Gopala, Jaya Jaya.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Govinda, Jaya Jaya Gopala, Jaya Jaya.
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohar Nanda Lala.
Govinda, Gopala, Murali Manohara Nanda Lala.
Govinda Gopala Giridhara Sham Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda, Gopala, Giridhara Sham, Prabhu Gopala.
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohar
Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called The Sound Medicine of Sacred Vedic and Kirtan Chanting. Find refuge, dispel fear, and open your heart with mantras. My name is Stephen Dinan. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network, and I'm really blessed to be with you here, getting to explore the frontiers of the sacred practice of chanting mantra with one of the preeminent chantresses of the world, or Kirtan artists. Her name is Nina Rao. She's a seeker and chantress, and has really been at the forefront of bridging East and West and helping to understand not only the practice of chanting in Kirtan, but really some of the deeper spiritual dimensions of it. So, Nina, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Namaskar. Thank you, Stephen. I'm really happy to be here today.
Well, in the spirit of diving right in, I thought it would be beautiful if you would actually invoke a sacred space for all of us with a chant or a mantra.
Sure. So I'll share with you something that I start my chanting with regularly. It's from the Vedic chanting tradition, and we invoke the deities Ganesha and Saraswati, who help us provide stamina for our practice and also give us clear speech and remove all obstacles. We'll start with that. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Ganana Antva Ganapati Gum Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashranvannuti Sida Sadanam Mahaganapataye Namaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinivati Dhinama Vitryavatu Ano Divo Brahataf Parvatada Saraswati Yajata Gantu Yagyam Havan Devi Jujushana Gratachi Shagmano Vachamushati Shrunotu Vagdevye Namaha.
Thank you. What a beautiful way to enter into this sacred space together and to really have a chance to go into the heart of this amazing, beautiful, blessed practice. So let's start our journey today with a little bit about your story of really claiming this as your path and what really propelled you to devote so much of your life to working with kirtan and sacred chanting.
You know, it's interesting because I think my life basically led me in this direction, as it's the case for everybody who's here and listening to us together today. You know, we get these signs, and I think from early on in my life, when I heard chanting from my grandfather and had a sort of a heart-opening experience, that memory is burned in my heart. I remembered that from a really young age until my life took over and I was busy studying and starting a career in various other professions. And it was only later, as I started to struggle with adulthood and the trials and tribulations of trying to be out on your own and make a living and have a family and all that, is where I started to turn towards these sort of practices that help us feel well within ourselves. And it started with yoga. And I went to a yoga studio to practice. When I went to practice, I started to hear chanting, actually recorded by Western artists in New York. And it took me back to those days when I had chanted with my grandfather. And we did a very home style sort of practice where there was singing with music. Some of them were long form prayers, some of them were call and response kirtan. But one of the things that always I took a lot of comfort in hearing and listening to was the style of chanting that's very prevalent in India. You mostly hear it in temples. And it's the chanting, it's Vedic chanting or chanting Veda or just Veda, in many ways to refer to it. And hearing that was always very soothing for me, but it didn't really seem available until I met my chanting teacher, my Veda teacher, and it's unusual to find a woman who teaches this practice, but I did 2 years ago. And because it's such a vast collection of mantra, tens and tens of thousands of mantra, you know, all we can do is put one foot in front of the other and keep learning and keep studying. So that's what I've been doing. My teacher continues to do that as well, and her teacher continues to do that as well. And what I found very interesting was to see the connection between singing kirtan and bhajan with music, and also understanding that the original authority, like where these sacred teachings came from, was from the Vedas, and for many cultural reasons they had to be pushed aside and other chanting practices became more accessible to people. But it is good to look back and see what are the roots. And when I did that, I found that there is an old tradition that's almost languishing in India now because there are not that many people practicing it anymore. But with my Veda teacher, you know, I have classmates who are from all around the world, and her goal is to revive this practice. And the beauty of it is, you know, there's not that much theory that you need to study. You just begin by falling right into it and start chanting. So that's what I've been doing. And it's interesting for me to see the connection between these two types of practices.
Well, I know you said it's not as important to understand the theory. You can just start practicing, but I do think it could be useful for people to understand a little bit like the how sacred Vedic mantras can really start to rewire our consciousness, open us to deeper frequencies, open us to the divine consciousness. A little bit more like the why behind the practice.
Sure. So they say that the original Vedas, starting with the Rig Vedas, came as transmissions to rishis or seers. And so in fact, when you look at the Veda, it's usually attributed to a rishi or a seer. The name is given that received this transmission in order to share with us basically a collection of sound syllables or mantra that is almost poetic. It doesn't have the structural grammar like prose or as a story, but it's really more like poetry. It's devotional, sacred poetry. And these sound syllables itself hold the knowledge that through practice transforms into wisdom within ourselves. And wisdom for what? Wisdom for us to live our lives in a good way, in the best way we can, as a way to find happiness, as a way to understand the reality of our lives, not what we think it is, but what it actually is. So that's where this wisdom tradition comes from. And the beauty of it is there's definitely a very serious structure in which the way these mantras need to be chanted when we're doing Veda chanting. But it's not something that you need to learn the philosophy behind necessarily, because as you do the practice, it starts to just resonate with you, and then it blossoms within yourself and makes you want to go further down the path and learn more, if this type of practice is interesting to you. And you can integrate it and incorporate it into your daily practice in nuggets or sizes that work for you with everything else that you have to do in your life. But the idea is that the knowledge was transmitted to these rishis, and their way of sharing it with us is through this expression, this devotional expression in the form of sound syllables or mantras to help protect our mind.
How important is it to understand what's behind each sound syllable or specific chant, or is it just really the vibrational quality itself that has the desired effect?
That's actually a very good question. I think that when we start getting into what each of the syllables mean, we start to find actually there are places in which there aren't exact translations. There are a lot of interpretations and studies on what these words actually mean, but we can get a general picture of it. And it's worth knowing that. So when I study a new prayer, my teacher will share with us what is the general meaning of what's happening here. But mostly, we get drawn to the practice by how it resonates with us, the vibratory quality of it. And the knowledge is transmitted in that sound. And so it's important to listen, but also to create the same sounds close to what the original might have and does sound like from our teachers.
You had mentioned that there's a certain kind of structure to working with these mantras, and I wonder if you can illuminate more about that.
Sure. So unlike Kirtan, where we sing with musical accompaniment, and there's a lot of creative freedom in how these divine names or mantra are expressed. It can be expressed in the form of music with different melodies, and there isn't a lot of rules about that. However, in Veda, in order for the wisdom to be transmitted, so to speak, the container has to be retained as best as possible. And the way to do that is to follow the rule structure. And it's very specific. The Veda itself, the rules for the expression of the chant are within the chant itself. So there's no room for doubt or uncertainty. So those who are studying very clearly and in depth, they follow these rules and they teach it to us, students like us. So what I know is what my teacher has taught me, and what she knows is what her teacher has taught her. But everything can be referred to back to the text in terms of grammatical rules, the sounds, the pronunciation, how you put two sounds together, and so on. But very simply, the basic structure of a Veda chant involves an intonation or certain notes, and they're usually about just 3 of them. They don't have a particular pattern necessarily, so you actually have to know each and every phrase as it's given. There's also a rhythm attached to the chant. And then there's also the pronunciation of the actual letters that are used. And when we're aspirating certain sounds, we use palatal sounds, we use dental sounds. So there's a very specific nature to that as well. So even for a very simple one-line mantra, there are rules that are associated with that. And we'll be talking about that in this course.
I wonder if you could give a demonstration and give a specific example for us to really anchor that.
Okay, sure. I just want to mention that, the invocation that I did in the beginning is in that form. But what I wanted to share also today was, the connection between Kirtan as well as this ancient tradition of chanting Veda. And what I wanted to do was just share one verse from a prayer called the Sri Rudram, which is a prayer to Shiva. And many of you have heard the very famous mantra Om Namah Shivaya that many of us sing in Kirtan circles and communities. If you haven't, you will hear it. So I thought I would share one verse from the Sri Rudram, from the Veda. It's from the Krishna Yajur Veda. And it's a prayer, a long form prayer that I learned. We did a 1-year course learning this. So this is more in-depth study of Veda chanting. But what this particular verse demonstrates to us is how it inspired this form of chanting the name of the divine in the way we do in Kirtan communities. So I'll chant that for you now, and just wanted to give you just a little bit of background about the prayer and why we would do it in the first place. So they say that when we chant the Sri Rudram, it helps to neutralize what previous karmas we might have from maybe even another lifetime, if we believe in that. It also helps us to have what my teacher says as glad acceptance of our reality, or as life in the way it comes to us every day. The other reason that I wanted to share this particular verse for you is that you can tell that there is in the phrasing of this chant, you can hear the echoes of what comes later, many thousands of years later, in this form of Kirtan chanting, which we'll also do as an experiential practice together. Okay? So there's no musical accompaniment to this. I'm just going to chant the words, and we will have a drone just so that we can set our notes. Namas Somaya cha Rudraya cha Namas Tamraya cha Arunaya cha Namas Shangaya cha Pashupataye cha Nama Ugraya cha Bhimaya cha Namo Agre Vadhaya cha Dure Vadhaya cha Namo Hantre cha Haniyase cha Namo Vrikshebhyo Harikeshebhyo Namastaraya Namah Shambhave cha Mayo Bhave Cha Namah Shankaraya Cha Mayaskaraya Cha Namah Shivaya Cha Shivataraya Cha Namah Stirthyaya Cha Kulyaya Cha Namah Paryaya Cha Varyaya Cha Namah Prataranaya Chottaranaya Cha Namah Ataryaya Cha Ladhyaya Cha Namah Shashpyaya Cha Phenyaya Cha Namah Sikatyaya Cha Pravahyaya Cha. So there's just one line in this verse which says Namah Shivaya, and it's from there that the inspiration came for all the Namavali chants that came later. 1008 names of Vishnu and 1008 names of Krishna and 1008 names of Devi and so on. So this verse really is enjoyable to chant. So I wanted to share that with you.
Beautiful. Well, there's obviously, it takes a while to practice to get everything very precisely right like that. But do you find that how important is just keep jumping in and doing it the best we can and just keep repeating?
That's such a good point, Stephen, really. You know, it's almost impossible to basically memorize this. There are people who have memorized, long form prayers. But ultimately, the goal is to do the practice. It's not even so much getting it exactly right each time, because every effort, every moment that we sit down to do practice is so valuable for us and for everyone around us. So if we make mistakes, we make mistakes. But we have texts to help us correct ourselves. We have recordings to remind ourselves. We have communities that we can chant with. So it is really important to allow yourself to make mistakes, but also in this particular practice, because it's so focused on getting the structure correct, it's a serious concentration practice as well. It's something where we have to refer to the text, we have to listen really carefully, and you really can't be distracted by anything else, because it doesn't work, and just keep doing it over and over again. In our classes where we chant together, we know conceptually what is right, and often we make mistakes. We do like a round robin and people take turns chanting online. And if we make a mistake, we go back and repeat it again and start over. But that's all it is.
It'd be great for people to understand a little bit more about the contrast of this with what we often are doing is practicing with Kirtan. And like when do you prioritize one or the other, and how do they work and complement to each other?
Yeah. Well, I consider my whole life a bridge between India and living in America, so East and West, depending on which direction you're looking from and to. So, I grew up in an Indian family, but we spent a lot of time in the West, especially here living in the United States. And access to these ancient traditions was not always available to me. So this style of Veda chanting is really something relatively new that I've been spending a lot of time practicing, because it resonates with me so strongly. And it doesn't mean that you have to be from India. Like I said in my class, we have people from more than 35 different countries. They speak all kinds of languages. But when you learn this, it becomes a universal language, just like music, they say, is a universal language. So for me, I like to do Veda chanting as a regular study for myself, because I find it helps me with reading, listening, and concentrating. And of course, the actual effects of the prayer, which is the reason why we're doing it in the first place, you start to feel the effects of that. It really brings about a sense of open-minded heart and open-heartedness as well, but also a sense of peace. And there's something that happens when you do a concentration practice in this way that brings us into the moment, like in the way Ram Dass said, be here now. It's easier said than done. But the more practices we do like this, the more we can let go of the type of stuff that pulls us away from being here and seeing what's right in front of us and dealing with it in the best way. So, as far as how you prioritize, it's really up to you. And what we will do in this course is basically just explore different modalities, these two modalities. And as a student, as a seeker, as a practitioner, you can choose for yourself what resonates most for you in your daily practice. You know, you might pick one mantra from the Veda itself that you'll choose to continue with forever. For example, like the Gayatri mantra is something that's been practiced widely all around the world and in India. It's something we'll do in the course as well. But you have to have a taste of it, get a feeling for it. What is it like to do multiple repetitions of a mantra in this way? And for me, another big part of the practice is also singing in community, singing Kirtan, being in music, hearing melodies, feeling the rhythm. So that's also part of my practice. And, you know, for me, I think I dedicate probably equal amount of time to both of these practices, but it's different for everyone. And when you do a course like this, it helps you craft what works for you for now. And that's also ever changing.
So I'd love for you to maybe lead us into a demonstration of a particular chant with the Kirtan style and how you might prepare and work with the energies of what gets created as well.
Sure. So what we'll do is we will chant Om Namah Shivaya, particularly because you can literally see these words from the verse of the Sri Rudram, which I chanted earlier. So we'll do this chant, and I will do it in Kirtan style. I won't be able to hear you, but this is a way for us to do this practice together, and I feel your presence when you sing. So I will lead one line with the harmonium, and you'll hear some rhythm and percussion as well. And then I'll play the harmonium for you to be able to sing back the same line, and you'll hear your own voice. This is all part of the practice, listening, repeating. And as you find your thoughts entering into your mind, because that's what happens, notice that they're there, let them go, and come back to the sound of the chant. That's the very simple instruction for this particular type of practice. So let's start this practice by chanting one long Om together. And then we'll chant the mantra Om Namah Shivaya as call and response.
Thank you for that beautiful, beautiful chant. So I want to, it may be kind of obvious, but I kind of want to invite you to reflect a little on, it's like the inner state, the quality of being that you're bringing in. How are you sort of approaching that really as this deepening spiritual practice into your true self?
You know, I think we have the blessing and the gift of the mantra actually pulling us into our own selves. You know, when I think about how it is that I can do my practice, in an interesting way, like you give it your effort, and at the same time, you sort of surrender to the practice. I know that sounds a little a bit of a paradox, but it actually is like that. And the more that we do the practice and allow our minds to sort of drop into the space, because you sort of have to allow that to happen by letting go of any evaluative stuff that might come up, or maybe some bad feelings you might be having about something. Just sort of notice that they're there and say to yourself very quickly, that's going to be there later when I finish this practice. So I'm just going to let go of it for the moment. Just let it go and come back to the names that we're chanting or the mantra that we're chanting. That practice of continually letting go and hearing the mantra and chanting the mantra is the simple instruction. That's all it takes to do this practice and to dedicate the time.
Related to that, do you find that sometimes you have difficult life situations or challenges? Do you actually like invoke them as sort of a offering into that, as sort of a releasing through the practice consciously?
Another amazing question, Stephen. You know, I'm sure everybody's had this experience in their life. You know, you feel anxious about something. For example, I was in the hospital recently. My very dear loved one was undergoing a very serious surgery. And the best way for me to sit through the 6-hour surgery was to dedicate that time to be in the waiting room, to offer the chant for his healing and well-being, but also as a way for me to accept the reality of where I am at this moment and to allow for whatever was going to come, and that I would be here for it. So yes, in times of stress, I definitely try to use practice to kind of activate that part of myself, that part of myself that wants to be here now at this time with the greatest amount of awareness and open-heartedness that I can have.
I'm wondering if you could share a little bit about how you approach this as a daily practice in the course of a day. Do you sort of work in a Vedic mantra before a meeting, or would do it like at the start of your day, or if you have children, or I don't know, just kind of a little bit about how to sort of make this part of your daily rhythm that really helps to create a sanctuary space for us.
For sure. So in India, they say that the best time of day to practice is what they call Brahma Muhurat. They call it Brahma Muhurat, which is just before sunrise. Now, that means one has to wake up at 3, which I do on occasion when I'm on retreat. But on a daily basis, what I try to do is, the first thing before I've even opened my eyes is to bring to mind a mantra, which is the mantra that I like to practice every day. It's my mantra. It's something that was sort of given to me by my guru, but it is something that I chose for myself, and I ran it by her, and she said, yes, that's a good mantra for you. And we all will have to choose one practice that we repeat steadily over time, so that you can dig a deep well to access that water, that water that flows freely through us, rather than digging many shallow wells, as they say. So the first thing I like to do when I wake up in the morning is to bring to mind that mantra, and I just repeat it silently. And then as I'm waking up, that's already in my headspace. And then I can start to approach the day. While I'm making tea, I start thinking about all the tasks in my day. When I had a young child, I basically took every opportunity I had to chant. When she was sleeping, or when I had to put her to sleep, I would sing to her. One of the things I like to do now when I'm preparing food at home, because they say that this also sanctifies the food and turns it into prasad, or blessed food, is to chant internally while you're cooking, so that everything that's going into the preparation of this energy, which is food, is pure, and mantra is pure. And of course, there are times when, I'm about to go into a meeting, let's say, and there's definitely been some, strangeness amongst the people that I've had to talk to, and just to clear the space before you enter into conversation so that you have good speech. This is the thing about mantra, is that it helps not only clarify our thoughts, but it helps to clarify what it is that we're going to say. Because what we say in our daily life affects everything that happens. So in that moment, I might take, before entering into a difficult meeting, I might take a breath, repeat my mantra a few times, and then go into the meeting. And it really does clear the space.
Beautiful. And what about specifically around fear? Since fear is so often that which contracts us and leads us into sort of different kinds of, less enlightened behavior and patterns that just spiral. What have you found in terms of the chanting practice as a way to consciously work with fear?
So, essentially you can use any mantra as a fear dispelling mechanism. There are very specific mantras that are related, that are often activated and used in those circumstances. Like, for example, when someone is sick, or when you're about to travel and it looks like things are looking a little dicey with the weather, and so on. There are specific mantras you can chant to help with that. But you can basically chant anything to basically get yourself centered again. All these mantras bring us back into our heart space, any of them. Any of these so-called divine names, and they're so-called because they are our true nature. And they say that our true nature is love and peace and equanimity and compassion. But in a moment where you can spiral into all kinds of thought patterns, one needs something to hold on to, And if you choose mantra as a practice, sometimes it's as simple as just saying, okay, I'm going to stop, I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to breathe. That's like the first step. But as you use mantra as a tool, it opens up inside of you on its own. Some great sages in India have said that our true nature is that invocational nature, all the time repeating mantra. And we just have to tune into that space. That space is where everything is connected. That space is where we're not separate. That space is where there's no fear. So the more you do the practice, the more you will do the practice, because you recognize internally and on a cellular level how helpful it is. And it becomes almost like a reflexive activity. It's really beautiful, actually, to see how that happens.
Well, it's really clear just the depth to which you've done these practices and really taken them into your deep essence and shared so much of that mastery with others. Really inspiring. Thank you, Nina. I want to spend some time now talking about more explicitly about your upcoming program that you've mentioned a few times today, because it's such a great opportunity to really make these practices your own and to experience the benefits and our spiritual illumination or finding solace and harbor during challenging times, finding forgiveness, opening beyond fear, just really being able to drink in the depths of our spiritual mana, really, that we can then lead a different life from. So the program that Nina is going to be teaching is called Traditional Vedic Chanting and Devotional Kirtan as Sound Medicine. Ignite the resilient true nature of your heart with nourishing healing mantras. You can find it laid out in detail at sacredmantracourse.com, sacredmantracourse.com. It's a 5-module journey. There are no prerequisites. It's really if your heart just feels called to go deeper and to understand how your voice can be medicine for your whole being, and how you can use your voice as a portal to a deeper kind of awakened compassion, courage, equanimity, all those other virtues that really help us live a beautiful life. So Nina, I'd love for you to share in your own words, really why take this journey with you, and then I'll read out the module titles, and you can give us a preview of what you're going to be covering in each.
My journey on this path as a seeker has been studying and exploring the wealth of paths of practice that there are, offered from so many different traditions. And because I grew up all around the world in different countries, I've been exposed to many different types of traditions. And now, having lived in America and having the good fortune of being in the presence of some really beautiful spiritual teachers from the Indian as well as Tibetan tradition, much of my practice has kind of streamlined into mantra chanting in specific from these two traditions, from the Hindu tradition as well as from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition in particular. And, you know, it's up to us to do this kind of work. Many people are born into traditions. They have a family practice that they're born into, and it becomes very natural for them to fall into that. I didn't really have that, and I expect that many people who are on this meeting today might also feel the same way. Or if you did have some kind of family tradition that you were born into, maybe it doesn't resonate with you so much anymore. I don't know. But we have to find our own path, because each path to God, if you want to call it that, or unconditional love, or into our own true nature, is very individual. There is no one way except your way. And your way can be determined by how much you explore and how much you find what resonates with you. And it's really important to find what resonates with you so that you do the practice. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to want to do it. And if you don't do it, then you can't feel the effects of it. You have to do something, right? So my idea in this course is that to share my experience in doing these practices, because it's through the sharing of my teachers and their practices with me that I learned what felt good for me. So this is just a way for people to expose themselves to different types of chanting, see if it feels good for you. You might want to adopt some of it, you may not, but at least you will have had that exploration if you've looked in that direction.
Beautiful. Well, again, the whole program is laid out in detail at sacredmantracourse.com, sacredmantracourse.com.
Module 1, cultivate heightened consciousness, courage, gratitude, compassion, wisdom, clarity, and love through mantra practice.
It's quite a package.
Yeah. So I just, these are words that are facets of a multifaceted jewel. Or you could say we're talking about, light. And light is made up of a rainbow of colors, a full spectrum of colors. So these attributes that you've mentioned, talked about before, of courage and fearlessness and open-heartedness, compassion, gratitude, and so on, these are just facets of this jewel that is the one love that we are. But it's not so easy to think about it and just recognize that. We need these practices to pull us back into ourselves without a lot of thought processes, but just like a direct route into our hearts. And we need a variety of things sometimes. Like some people can actually breathe and meditate with no particular structure every day and develop a certain amount of concentration. But use of the mantra has a twofold benefit. One is it gives us a tool to focus on and helps us concentrate our minds. And at the same time, the mantra itself holds the wisdom. And the way in which we receive the wisdom is through its repetition. What a beautiful thing. So there are infinite number of mantras, I think. Can't count them. So what we're going to do is focus on a few mantras that I have found helpful to sustain what I need to do on a daily basis which is get through the day. And we all come up with the same obstacles in our lives, whether it's family, whether it's bureaucracy, whether it's our own insecurities. There's so many reasons why we stop ourselves short from giving ourselves fully to something. So the very first module, we are going to practice the Gayatri mantra. It's a mantra from the Vedas, and it's something that's practiced all over India and many places all around the world, including yoga studios here. I will be sharing this mantra particularly from my teacher's South Indian tradition, which is also where I come from. And it's from that lineage. The idea of the Gayatri mantra, first and foremost, is to bring about clarity. We need that, because we're covered in dust, our hearts and our eyes and our minds. So the Gayatri helps us to remove that dust. So we'll be doing that in the first module. And then I'll share with you another mantra that's chanted again all over the world and very well known to a lot of people, is often known as the Mahamantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This mantra was brought to the people by a great saint named Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who over 500 years ago said that this is the mantra that was going to free us from what holds us back and holds us down. So we'll sing that with music.
Module 2, allow mantras to ground and stabilize you and provide sustenance as you connect to divinity.
So the deity Vishnu or Narayana in our tradition is considered the sustainer of life. Just like we're held up by the waters of the ocean, in the same way, we rely on Vishnu to get us through the day. So we're going to focus on a couple of mantras here. We're going to take the formula of the Gayatri mantra and add a little, some of the names and the words that we're going to use will be changed, and we will chant the Vishnu Gayatri mantra. So you'll notice the similarity in the structure to what we learned the day before. And then we're going to sing Kirtan in the name of Vishnu as Vasudeva or Narayana. So again, sort of immersing ourselves in different practices, but invoking the same kind of feeling of well-being and strength and creative force to sustain ourselves.
Module 3, practice mantras for long life and greater mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health.
So what we'll do in this module is we're going to review the Gayatri mantra, because it's good to go back to what we've done in the first module, and we'll have a chance to talk to each other also in Q&A. And I want to then share with you this very beautiful mantra that I learned from an amazing Tibetan spiritual master. His name is Garchen Rinpoche. And from him, I learned the White Tara mantra. And this mantra helped me through a very difficult time in my life, particularly when there was illness in our family. And she brings about wellness and a feeling of strength in one's own self. So I'd like to share that mantra, and we'll do an extended practice in this mantra from the Tibetan tradition.
Module 4, create an environment of auspiciousness to experience unfathomable bliss.
So auspiciousness is a word that I love, because in some ways, it's subjective. What is an auspicious environment for each and every one of us? Mostly it means that we're creating circumstances that allow us to achieve what it is that we want to achieve. And there are ways to create mangala, or create an auspicious environment. And that's, again, clearing the space using mantra. So we're going to focus on different mantras that bring about that state, that feeling of auspiciousness, where basically anything can seem possible, because it is.
Module 5, contribute to your own peace and peace on earth by chanting mantras that wish others well.
So we'll spend time chanting mantras for dispelling fear, but also chanting a mantra from the Sanskrit tradition where we're wishing all beings are happy, including ourselves.
Well, it's clearly going to be a beautiful journey to go on with you. And I know that people are just going to get so many blessings in their lives from doing this practice and really making it their own, or both practices of Vedic mantra and Kirtan. So again, this says the whole program is called Traditional Vedic Chanting and Devotional Kirtan as Sound Medicine. It's a 5-week journey. And in addition to the 5 90-minute live sessions with Nina, which include Q&A time, you're also going to get recordings of each session, both video and audio, word-for-word transcripts to work with, study, and highlight, weekly exercises for home, and a Facebook community to support you and deepen your experience. And on the page, you'll also find a number of extra bonuses to enhance your journey. There's a video recording of a live event with Nina called the Hanuman Chalisa in Song. Want to share a little bit about that recording, Nina?
It's actually a very informative video. I go through the pronunciation of the Hanuman Chalisa. We go over the meaning of the Hanuman Chalisa and how it kind of expands our devotional heart. And then we actually get to sing together a few times. So it's a great place to practice together this very favorite devotional hymn that's chanted all over India and also all over here.
It's a beautiful extra bonus. And in addition, there's a special bonus that folks get when you sign up right away. This is called Sacred Music for Sacred Forests, and you get this when you sign up by midnight Pacific time. It's a video recording of a live event with Nina, Krishna Das, and many others. And you want to share a little bit more about Sacred Music for Sacred Forests?
Yeah. One of my great passions is for preserving our natural environment. And this is a video recording of a beautiful event that we put together for a nonprofit that I manage for saving wild forests, basically. In this program, there are chants offered by Krishna Das. There's a reading of the Flower Ornament Sutra from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition by Professor Robert Thurman. And then we have some amazing musicians offering music, some poetry readings, and also some chanting with me.
Fantastic. Well, it's a great extra reason to sign up by midnight. So it's clearly going to be such a heartfelt and blessed program and really create a whole vibratory field of grace in which to really shift your life in positive directions. So we've kept the investment really accessible for this program. It's just 3 payments of $91, or you save 10% when you pay in full up front with 1 payment of $249. The course is going to begin April 25th and run Tuesdays at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. And even if you can't make those live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well. And I particularly also encourage you to go over to the page at sacredmantracourse.com and also read through the testimonials from previous programs with Nina. Tamara says, this course with Nina was truly transformational. What a really delightful humility, truthfulness, love. Found it looking forward, like I was having a date with a friend. The greatest impact by far from taking this course was to be in Nina's presence. So many different beautiful testimonials from the caliber of teaching, the depth of presence and care that Nina brings to really helping you take in and drink in these powerful mantras and as sound medicine, and to make them your own in your life. So again, you can find all the details at sacredmantracourse.com, sacredmantracourse.com, and you're going to get that special Sacred Music for Sacred Forests when you sign up by midnight tonight. So Nina, we're at the end of our hour. What a great hour with you. Thank you for blessing us this hour. And anything still on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering going deeper with you?
I'm honored that I have the opportunity to be with this virtual satsang. Satsang is a group of people who are looking for the truth of their being. And even though we can't be in the same room together physically, I find sharing these practices so helpful for me. And I thank you for that, and I look forward to seeing you.
Well, thank you so much, Nina. Thank you all for joining. Many blessings. And if you would like to go further, you're warmly welcome to do so at sacredmantracourse.com, and you get Sacred Music for Sacred Forests when you sign up by midnight tonight. Thank you so much.
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohar Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohara Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohar Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohara Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohar Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohara Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohar Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohara Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohar Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohara Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
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 Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohar Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Murali Manohara Nandalala
Govinda Gopala Giridhar Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Giridhara Sham Prabhu Gopala
Govinda Gopala Murali
You know, Rumi became who he is through the whirling. The poetry that we love from him so much, the love poetry, just flowered, fountained from him as he was whirling with the music. And they were written down by his friends and his followers. He just spoke them. He just recited them in perfect meter and rhyme in the Persian language, which is a testament to how this powerful practice brings coherence between the heart and the mind, the heart and the head, and the body.
In so many meditative traditions, people talk about the monkey mind or challenges with keeping the focal point of the mind. And so I'm wondering if that creating that state of coherence when you're whirling, when you're dancing, like, are there practices, there prompts, the things that kind of cue you into that state so that you really become as coherent with the whirling as possible?
That's a beautiful question. So it's through the listening, right? You're listening to the music. You're listening to the chanting. You know, people, the dervishes are the ones who spin, who turn. And that word, by the way, means carrier of light, driver of light. When you're whirling, you're invited to chant a name of the beloved and the name of the divine that for you means beloved, a name that you feel an intimate connection with. And they can be several names. When you chant this name over and over again, when you're whirling, as you're whirling, you start to really focus more and more on spirit, on that which you love, on the source of your being, more and more, and less on, oh my God, I'm going to fall, or what am I doing? This is crazy, or all of the things that are associated with the monkey mind, basically. And sometimes people say to me, well, I don't have a name. And then I say, well, listen for the name. Let this be a practice of truly listening.
I'm wondering if you could reflect a little on, I think so much of what we sort of have done in the West is get more and more free form in our expression. So like ecstatic dance is a big trend now where everybody's just kind of completely doing their own thing. We've moved away from a lot of the formal partner dancing or structured forms. And maybe reflect a little bit around that relationship between sometimes a structure or form that you're really diving into versus a more individualized kind of expression, which has its own kind of freedom in it as well.
Yes. I actually really love the fact that more and more people are dancing and they're expressing themselves through dance. And that is a big part of my modality as well. You know, I mentioned guided technique, but there's also a lot of room for freestyle, a lot of room for expressing, expressing the dance, expressing the teachings in your own way. But what I really love is kind of where these two meet, where there's the technique of dance coming from, lineages of dance that I mentioned, flamenco, Persian, or Middle Eastern dances, taking those techniques and then making them yours. So kind of a blend between paying attention to technique that has been tried and true, and unfolding your own free style, your free expression. And that's very important to me, especially since as we're focusing on the focus of our conversation today, and the course that I'm going to be teaching is on freeing yourself. So I don't really want to keep people in the limitation of technique, but to really offer them technique in a way that will open them even more. Sometimes when you learn a few techniques from people like myself who've devoted their whole life to dance, I think that can be valuable in opening your own expression even more fully.
Love that perspective. I wonder if you could, let's turn the conversation a little bit towards trauma. One of the things we listed today that you can actually use dance as a way to alchemize trauma. And that doesn't just necessarily mean the biggest traumas. It can also be micro traumas, things that accumulate from just everyday challenges and overwhelms, and when your system kind of gets rocked by something. So I'm wondering if you could just talk about, consciously bringing traumas, challenges from the past into a dance to kind of liberate that in a more embodied way.
I think the key is what you just said. In liberating them in an embodied way, because I feel that's the key. We hold so much of the traumas that we've experienced in our bodies. And if we don't move our bodies, they're going to be stuck. I mean, that might sound simplistic, but, it's very important to process the traumas, emotionally, psychologically. Very, very important to do that, but also to move them, move through them with the body is very key, because trauma lodges in our body, and if we don't consciously move the trauma, and while we're processing it, if we don't consciously move it out, it will not move. We will not go beyond it. And one example that I can also give you is from flamenco. A lot of the form is about really taking a pain, a sorrow, a constriction, and dancing through these things, dancing through them, and actually letting the pain and the sorrow, the constriction in the beginning really inform the way we're moving. So hold it in your body and feel how it really feels. Tune into it, and then slowly, open the boundaries of this limitation, of this constriction, and move through it. That's with emotional and psychological trauma. There's also physical pain and trauma that absolutely through dance we can, what I would call dissolve them, because again we're moving, again we're connecting with the chi, with the energy to just free the blockages, to circulate more evenly, more harmoniously, and transform the blockages and transmute the psychological traumas.
Beautiful. Well, you describe it so evocatively. Now I think it's time to demonstrate it, demonstrate how you can really take this on as a practice in a deeper way. So I know you have to do a little setup here, and then we can all practice with you.
Sure, I would love that. What I'm going to invite people into is a taste of this practice. So a short shaking routine, which is really about freeing up our energy and opening superficial blockages and releasing tension. We dust our homes on a regular basis, every day. At least we hope we do that. But we neglect to dust our bodies. We neglect to move. And so the importance, I want to point to the importance of moving on a regular basis to free up our energy and to open some of the places where energy gets knotted up because of negative emotions, or we're stiff because of holding repetitive, constricted postures. So with that, I'm going to invite you to move with me. Flow with your breath, inhaling from your nose, exhaling from your nose. Just check in with who's here as you. And take a scan of how your body feels. Please take a deep breath in. With your exhalation, open your eyes. And join me by taking your heels down one at a time. Bring your heels down into peace, into the yin energy of the earth. Feel ease in your hips as much as possible. And now bring your heels down faster. Drawing the energy of peace, the yin energy up into your legs, into your hips. The vibration of peace in your torso, in your shoulders, arms, and hands. Sense the peace in your neck and in your whole head. And now bounce. With the bouncing, please free up the back of your head, neck, between your shoulders, upper back, lower back, buttocks, back of your legs. Free up the back of your body and the front of your body now. Releasing fear, your attachment, your addiction to fear, to worry, and the sides of your body, addiction, fears to judging yourself, to judging others. And open some of those chains of unworthiness, smallness. Open. And give it all to the beloved. Give it all to the beloved to be transformed into love. And bring down this transformed love. Let it travel down the central channel of your body along the chakras, crown, your forehead, your neck, your heart center, your upper abdomen, lower belly, hips. Feel the transformed love in your legs, in your feet, and step, transferring the transformed love into the earth. And in your own way, shaking to release from the places where you feel you need to be more open, need to be freer. It's your hips, shaking your hips, the low back. It's your shoulders, shake out your shoulders. Free up the pathway of energy from shoulders to tip of your fingers. Free up your neck. And keep flowing with your breath, inhaling and exhaling from your nose. You may want to bring your knees up higher. If you wish. Make sure to step softly. Moving with your arms and hands. Looking down if you wish to free up shoulders, neck. And looking forward, going down lower, relaxing, softening in your ankles. Opening heart center, chest, freeing up shoulders, arms and hands. Opening hips, one at a time. And back to stepping again. And slowly bringing your movement to a stillness and closing your eyes. And just feeling. Bringing your hands onto your heart without opening your eyes, please. Sensing your heartbeat. Grateful for the life you have, the life you've been given. Now please take a deep breath in, and with your exhalation open your eyes, standing just for a few seconds longer, letting your knees be soft, slightly bent, relaxation in your hips, sensing the ground lovingly with your feet. I'm going to ask you to open your arms and come down. Sense that you can open your arms from the bottom of your feet. We open our body in a general way, so I think it can be possible for you to move, feel that you're moving your arms with your whole body. And coordinating with your breath, inhale, arms up, and exhale them down from your nose, inhaling and exhaling. And sense how you are expanding yourself even more each time you open your arms. Expanding. This is your embrace. This is your embrace. How big is your embrace? What fits in your embrace? The bigger your embrace, the freer you are. The bigger your embrace, the more in touch with your own greatness you are. So can you please bring your hands onto your heart center, just embracing yourself. Thank you so much. Let's go down in a reverence, in a little bow. And with soft knees, roll up your spine, open your arms into a yes. And bring your hands down, Sense the blessings pour into your body, pour the blessings into the earth, and share the blessings, share the love into the environment, into our world.
Well, thank you for that. It's very contagious, like how much just energy and movement and freedom starts to move through your body. And I love the sacred yes to close things out. There's a lot in that just is like an affirmation of life, to let life move through as the divinity that we are. So I want to invite you to share with us a little bit about how a dance practice as a spiritual practice really can evolve over time. How do you sort of deepen into it, explore edges, find where there might be blocks in your body? How do you sort of build a practice over time?
Well, you build it by being authentic. You build it by being honest with yourself, and letting yourself, go deeper and deeper into you. You really explore your inner world through the dance, because as you know, dance can also be very showy. It can be very external, and that's good too. That's fine too. It's beautiful, but there's the invitation to take it deeper, to really let the dance be a tool for excavating, going deeper, like the whirling is like that, and also a way of really letting yourself step into being a channel. For me, it's very important to experience the central channel. What I did with you right now, what I showed right now is just a little taste of, freeing up the blockages, freeing up the restrictions and the constrictions, so that we can feel something finer, and that normally moves through the central channel, this finer energy where the chakras are. And so this dedication to both excavating, going deeper into the psyche, into the emotions, and then also literally with the physical body, to explore the energetic dimensions of the body. Because unlike what we've been told, that the body is limited and is the prison of the soul, the body is quite unlimited. I don't think anyone in the world knows everything there is to know about the body. So even though we've been told that the body is the limiting element in the human being, I think it's really the mind, our thinking, that is limited.
Well, let's open the aperture a little bit to the societal change work, activism, evolutionary change. I think all of us aspire that our spiritual practices ultimately change our world for the better, not just ourselves. And I was thinking of that quote. I forget the exact quote, but it's like, it's not the revolution for me if I can't dance. That there's something about dancing and our collective freedom that really are inextricably intertwined, which is why those in charge of Iran right now are less than thrilled to have dancing, because it empowers individuals. So maybe let's talk just a bit about how dance can also become a collective act of liberation and freedom as well.
Yes, dance is communal, even though we're dancing individually, but it really is a communal practice, and it brings us into rhythm with others. So even when we dance alone in our homes, doing a Zoom course, we're still connecting. We're still connecting through this powerful practice with others, and coming into rhythm with each other, creating a communal energy, a collective energy. And in terms of dance, that energy is always an energy of joy. It's always an energy of breaking through limitations and barriers. I don't know of many other practices that connect us with a sense of liberation like dance does. First of all, because it is usually accompanied with music, and music can be so heart-opening and so mind-expanding, this becomes truly a way to express that expansion and opening through the body. And just like you said, it's empowering, it gives us confidence, it helps us, supports us in breaking the rules when the rules are not just. And we see that. We see that in Iran, one of the main modes of dissent, one of the main tools of protesting is dancing. And because this is a peaceful movement that is happening in Iran, and people abstain a lot from of using violence, then using something as joyful as dance has had very positive impact on the freedom fighters themselves. And of course, like you said, the regime bans dancing. The dance is just as threatening to the regime, to this patriarchal system, as is removing the hijab, because it's liberating. It's taking room in the world as you. And patriarchal religions, totalitarian governments do not want that in their subjects.
So I'm wondering if you can share a little bit about how, even if we're dancing in our own homes, that we can consecrate that to some subtle, energetic empowerment of different evolutionary and revolutionary movements for change elsewhere.
Well, it's, obviously we're interconnected, and we can energetically influence and impact situations and other people. So when we dance with this focus, with this intention to not just free ourselves, but to elicit freedom and bring about change, when we dance with that kind of intention, and that intention is shared with others, even if we're not in the same space physically, that definitely has an influence, has an impact. When even one person frees themselves of the shackles of thinking that they're separate and they're limited, that has an impact in the field of consciousness, and it affects us all.
Beautifully shared. Well, Banafshe, I want to spend some time now talking explicitly about your upcoming program, and what a blessing it is that we can host this with you, work with you on this, because I know people have not only a beautiful time, it's a fun time, it's a liberating time, it's a healing time to really dive into the practice of sacred dance with you. So the program is going to be called Sacred Dance for Freedom. Transform trauma, connect with the divinity of your body, and activate love as the ultimate revolutionary act. You can find it laid out in detail at Sacred Dance for Freedom, sacreddanceforfreedom.com. There's no prerequisites for this program. It's really just if you feel your body wants to move into some new patterns and possibilities, you want to release the heaviness you might be carrying, you want to open to a new octave of your embodied spiritual expression and really turn your movement into a prayer. There's really no better guide for doing that than Banafshe. So Banafshe, I'd love for you to share in your own words really the deeper purpose of this course. Where are you going to be taking people? And then I'll read out the module titles, and you can give us a preview of what's coming in each.
Yes, I think you said it beautifully, Stephen. This opportunity to really dance wildly and with abandon. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be forced to do that. Everyone is going to be invited to do that in their own way. And in so doing, really open yourself to joy and a sense of celebration, celebrating simply being alive. And of course, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be any pain and sorrow and suffering. Of course, we have the pain and the suffering and the sorrow. But when you're able to find the capacity within yourself to be in an expanded state, when confronted with the pain and the sorrow and the suffering, you're coming from a place that is less constricted, less limited, less feeling oppressed and repressed. And so in that way, we become part of the solution to the suffering, the pain, and the sorrow.
So module 1 is called Uproot Your Patriarchal Conditioning to reclaim joyful presence in your body and reconnect with the sacredness of life.
So in this first module, it's going to be about reconnecting with the sacredness of life by rooting in the earth, reclaiming our connection with the earth, and experiencing that the sacredness of life in our very bones, and seeing how that's actually a truly revolutionary act when we ground in the present moment.
Module 2, Free Your Life Force to clear blockages, embody sacred sexuality, and experience your body as a channel for the divine.
So in this module, we will open our body, free up our energy, and experience ourselves as a channel. You'll learn techniques to ground yourself in peace, free up your life force, and experience your body as a channel. Or a flute, as Rumi describes it, literally a bridge between the visible and the invisible. As you awaken the life force and allow it to ignite your whole body and entire being, you begin to embody your sacred sensuality and sexuality, integrating and balancing polarities as a revolutionary act.
Module 3, transform inner and outer turbulence into passion that is grounded in peace to empower your confidence, sovereignty, and aliveness.
You'll dance to, in this module, fill yourself with joy and self-love, and transform inner and outer turbulence into empowerment, fusing discipline with wild creativity to free yourself. The invitation is to awaken fiery passion, grounded in peace, and remove inner and outer hijabs and let your glory shine as you dance with wildness and the joy of simply being alive, so that no one, including yourself, can dare diminish you.
Module 4, increase your capacity to hold pain, joy, and the wholeness of life in your heart for inner balance, resilience, and peace.
When you give yourself to a purpose larger than yourself, you allow the great power that has created the world to move in you and through you. So in this module, you'll learn how to open to that and balance joy and pain with a wide open heart, letting yourself enter into your heart space, the quantum field of infinite consciousness, of infinite love.
Module 5, make peace with death through whirling to access inner peace in your infinite dimension.
In this module, you'll explore how the way you view death determines how you live your life. And through the sacred meditative dance of Sama, the whirling, you face your fears, uncover your relationship with death, and touch the infinite place within you that never changes, transmuting your fears surrounding death and integrating death as a natural aspect of life, which is a revolutionary act that will change your life.
Module 6, reclaim trust in yourself and life in the unseen to embody a deeper sense of what's possible for your life in our world.
Given the state of our world, simply trusting ourselves and that we have all that we need inside us, as well as trusting life and the unseen, and that a larger divine plan is unfolding, is a revolutionary act that will dive into to develop the capacity to trust through movement, through wisdom teachings. And also, I want to add that I understand that the whirling might be challenging to some people. They might be afraid of falling or losing control. And so this developing the trust that you're taken care of, and that the safe container that we create together, and within this, wider, beautiful Sufi tradition, that you will be safe and secure to open and try the whirling.
And finally, Module 7, free yourself from the shackles of separation to empower your wholeness within the oneness and be of service to love in our world.
When you experience oneness with all that is, you're no longer at the mercy of your fears, competitiveness, insecurity, and loneliness, all of which stem from a sense of separation. So as you explore how to bring your authenticity into the whole of your life, your consciousness expands to hold the whole as well, nourishing your vitality and expression as a soul or energy in physical form. Your dance then becomes a powerful way to embody and manifest your dreams, the dreams of the collective and the dreams of the earth, as you influence and shape consciousness by living love.
Mm. Well, Banafshe, you speak in pure poetry, and it's just such a great testament to the power of this practice to integrate body, mind, and soul, that you just move with such grace and beauty. So thank you for everything you've shared on this program already, and I'll just share a little bit more about it. So again, the URL is sacreddanceforfreedom.com, and you can get more information there. You get not only the 7 90-minute sessions with Banafshe, which is going to include interaction time and Q&A time. You also get recordings of video and audio of every session, which allows you to go back and do the guided practices, to really drink in the meditations and the prayers, so you can really make this your own over time. You also get word-for-word transcripts. You get small group time to connect with other participants. There's a Facebook community to deepen your sense of connection around the world. And on the page, you'll see a number of extra bonuses that enhance your journey. There's a video, yoga, and meditation journey by Banafshe called Experience the One Sensation, Oneness Yoga and Stretching Routine. You want to share a little bit more about that, Banafshe?
Sure. So this is really a practice that is on the ground. So a lot of stretching and a lot of yoga postures, really to bring you in touch with the whole of your body and experience the oneness in your very skin. And it's very important for people to keep coming back to this bonus throughout our course, because I'm not going to do as much of what I've done in this bonus. It's going to be more standing practices and movement, and this one is primarily on the ground.
In addition, on the page, you'll see another bonus as well. That's our special bonus you get when you sign up right away. It's called Live in Harmony, Blending the World into Beauty. It's a guided dance practice by Banafshe to harmonize inner polarities, and it's available until midnight tonight Pacific time for everyone who chooses to sign up right away. So, Banafshe, you want to share a little bit more about Live in Harmony?
Sure. So this one is a session where we're moving in the infinity patterns, the figure eights, and letting this sacred pattern fill the foundation of our body, and then let it grow into our whole body. There's something very profound about embodying sacred geometries, and the figure eight, the infinity pattern, is one of them. It really brings us into. It really gives us a sense of ease, as well as harmony with our environment. So this is the focus of this bonus.
Well, it's truly going to be such a blessing for everyone who chooses to participate. It is, it's just a pleasure to be with you, and I feel like you transmit so much wisdom from so many different lineages into this really embodied, poetic, beautiful path of liberation through our bodies. So thank you, Banafshe, for putting it together. I'll share a little bit more. We've kept the investment for this program really accessible. It's just 3 payments of $128. You can save 10% when you pay in full, with one payment of $349. The course is going to start on April 27th. We're on Thursdays at 10 Pacific, 1 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well. So I particularly also encourage you to go to the page and read through the testimonials. People say my connection to the divine soars when I dance with Banafshe. Beautiful depth in the class, amazing aid to me in recovering from surgery, a magical healer, dances like an angel. People just love working with Banafshe in this way. So their lives open. You really get to experience profound releases, healing, and really a communion with the inner divinity that you are. So you're in for a treat, and you're in really beautiful hands. And I think you'll have an amazing experience and really develop practices for a lifetime. So again, you can get all the details at Sacred Dance for Freedom, sacreddanceforfreedom.com, and you're going to get that special bonus when you sign up by midnight tonight, which is Live in Harmony, Blending the World into Beauty. So Banafshe, it's just always such a pleasure to be with you. So thank you for this time and what you've shared. And any final thoughts for those concerning going further with you?
Everyone, it's time to step into your magnificent temple, this magnificent body, and realize that our world needs a revolution of love, of peaceful coexistence, of honoring the earth, honoring life, honoring ourselves and each other. Each of us freeing ourselves and shining our light, stepping into being beacons of love, truth, beauty, and goodness amidst the chaos and the treachery. So we can usher in a new consciousness, a new story of oneness, of cooperation, of love, and interconnectedness of all that is. For this new story to truly take hold, we need to embody and live it in every aspect of our lives. So I hope you join me to discover for yourself how sacred dance is one of the most accessible, empowering, and joyful ways to create the revolution of love, inner and outer. I can't wait to share this transformative dance with you, and I look forward to seeing you on your dance floor.
Well, thank you for that warm and wonderful invitation, and thank you for your wisdom and just general wonderful quality of being with you. So again, if you'd like to go further with Banafshe, you're warmly welcome to do so at sacreddanceforfreedom.com, and you're going to get that special bonus when you sign up by midnight tonight, and you're going to have a blessed journey, I'm sure. So thank you so much, and thank you, Banafshe, for today's hour.
Thank you.